You are watching Xirtus.
So if you look in the Upanishads, there's a couple of the Upanishads like the
You can also share your screen too if you want.
Oh, I don't need to share my screen too much. I don't have like
Okay.
a
As you like.
a PowerPoint ready, but like the Kausitaki Upanishad or like the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad talk about this thing like the Devayana. So Ayana is like a path or a vehicle or like a way to go, like a going. And it starts with like because actually, so the good news is that the gates are always open, or they're not always open, but they're open often. So they're open for like half the year. So if you ever read Bhagavad Gita, I think a lot of people have, it talks about like a path of fire and a path of smoke, right? So those who travel the path of the gods and the path of fire ascend to the sun planet and are not born again, and those who ascend to the lunar planet through the path of the smoke reside with their ancestors for some eons and then return to work on their karmas again. But the Devayana, if you read in the Vedanta Sutra, it summarizes from the various Upanishads, like the Maitri, etc., that it would begin during the day. So one should leave one's body during the daytime, right? And then one should leave one's body. That daytime should be the daytime that's within the bright lunar fortnight. So when the moon is waxing. So one should leave one's body during the day when the moon is waxing. And then during the sun's northern ascent, right? So when the sun is traveling to the north, that's called the Uttarayan. And then during the Uttarayan is the from that position, then it says that a yogi can walk up the sunbeams into the solar disk, to reside amongst the gods. So you don't have to travel on the Devayan path. I mean, there's other ways through like devotion or like you can get help from a Deva. Like there's also like vehicles that'll come and like in the text it describes like these like aerial vehicles that'll come and like take souls up into heaven, like who don't know the path but like who deserve.
Can I add to that real fast?
Oh yeah, you can interrupt me anytime, bro. I'll just keep talking. Just interrupt me anytime.
Yeah, no problem. So what I hear astrologically, astronomically is so I was showing on the last presentation that the upward or the high noon is considered Capricorn, and this would be more considered with the Golden Gate, and Cancer would be considered with the Silver Gate, right? And so that's it, that would be the moon, and then the opposite is obviously connected to the sun. And so I think that there is, obviously gates that open up also on a microcosm that happen during the actual day and night and stuff like that. But this is also showing you that it happens in these aeons too. So when these alignments happen and you're aiming towards the galactic sun, that this gate opens, this golden gate for the gods. And it's the same thing. One side is the smoke, which is the Shabulba, right? It's the dark side of the Milky Way, essentially. And then the other is the light side, because you're headed towards the center of the Milky Way rather than out of the Milky Way. And so that's where you got like Betelgeuse. I don't know if you guys can see my screen, but that's where Betelgeuse, right? Betelgeuse. And why in the movie they show that there's this waiting room and all this stuff. It's kind of the characteristics to that side is more comedic, more vulgar. There's different elements to that side than the other side. So there's always these opposing things. And so anyways, that's what it was reminding me of when you were talking about that, right? You're the smoke side and the light side, and then being able to go towards, God, because I believe that Vishnu in the astronomical way of viewing it is towards the galaxy center, right? He's sleeping, probably resting there. At least astrology and symbology has, I think, embedded that a little bit, that's what they believe.
Well, there's a are you familiar with any of the Puranas? Like the Purana just means old, but this is like the lore of like the Dharma traditions, like the Indic traditions, like South Asian. So you're familiar with the Puranas, you know, like there's something, fifth canto in one of the Puranas called the Bhagavat Purana. And there's a whole chapter dedicated to something called the Śiśumāra chakra. And Śiśumāra means dolphin. Dolphin. So there's like a dolphin wheel. Have you ever heard of this? Like the dolphin wheel is like a disc of stars.
No, but that's very interesting. Yeah, you were mentioning it before we got on, but yeah.
So like here, one of the verses here early on. So there's a whole chapter dedicated to this. I could send you. Is there a chat here or something I could put this in?
Yeah, there's a private chat on the right side there. You could chat, or you could also read it.
I'll just put a link in here in case anybody wants to look at this stuff. You could maybe
Mr. Rogers.
So I was just gonna let me see here. Okay, and then so it says like Kechana means just some people. Like it's like okay. Then Etat Jyotih-anikam Śiśumāra Samstanena. So there's like a image of a dolphin, right? Which is Jyotih-anikam. Jyotih-anikam means like a, I don't know, like an arrangement or like a phalanx or like a disc, right? And so it's also being described as it's Śiśumāra chakra. So there's a form of Vishnu which is a disc of stars, right? That is shaped like a dolphin, right? And then it goes on further to describe with like its head pointed towards the center, right?
Yeah, and it's like 2 dolphins, you said?
I feel like I read that somewhere. Okay. But there's like a disc that's swimming. Hold on. Are you familiar with the idea of Vishvarup? Like the idea that the universe is like a form of God.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So like the universe is like a form of God, and in here it's describing it from like an astral perspective. Like this is something that can be meditated upon. It's like a disc of stars, right? It's just kind of interesting. It's just interesting when I think of a dolphin, I'm thinking of like a curved, like a fish. And it's saying that the universe, there's a form of the Lord, which is the universe, which is like a disc of stars. It's uncanny, It's like, man.
And the dolphin in the Hindus, or at least one of the characteristics of the makara, right? You know what the makara is?
Yeah, it's an aquatic.
Yeah, it's like a dolphin body, and the I forget what her name is, but she's the goddess of the rivers.
Oh, the Ganga.
The Ganges. Yeah. She rides on these makaras, right? And they wear earrings that are makaras, and their water features at their temples are all makara and makara. And it's a dolphin. Yeah, dolphin with sometimes an elephant tusk. It's a chimera character, but a dolphin is a big feature of it, right? And the makara is Capricorn.
Sometimes they put that they kind of just merge. Makara is like an aquatic. It can be used to describe a dolphin or a crocodile or a shark. So I think sometimes the artists just combine all the features into like a single concept, but it's sort of like just like an aquatic category for like a large aquatic.
So I believe that they're pointing out with the makara and why its station is basically Capricorn is this relationship with much about the nakshatras, the lunar mansions.
Yeah, they're like the wives of Chandra.
Yeah, and then there's a hidden one which is Brahma's nakshatra, and that's the Abhijit nakshatra, and that's why. Like
unconquerable, right? Like,
yes, exactly. It's unconquerable. It can use all the God's powers, every single one of them, right? It can bring it all because it's Brahma, and it's really all his manifestation, anyways. And it's a polar star rather than being on the ecliptic, the nakshatra, right? And so they say that it's the hinged one. It's the one that sits on the pole and actually holds all the other nakshatras on the ecliptic. And when that moves, that polar star or that line that comes down to that nakshatra, when it moves in the precession of the equinox into the Milky Way, which it now is clicked in, it clicks into where Mula's nakshatra is, which is the root chakra, right? So it's the one that's the lowest and can dive into the deepest, and it's a kind of like a Venus character that rules Mula's station or whatever. And so I see it as that it's showing us symbolically that it's the highest and lowest point connecting together and making that tree of life come back together.
Time's an illusion, but it's true in spirit. Source beyond space and time, no need to fear it. Everything's part of some eternal plan.